A week after our breakup, my wealthy ex-boyfriend still hadn't come to find me. Just as I hesitated over whether to soften my stance, the impoverished student Silas suddenly confessed his feelings. I was about to shake my head and reject him when a flurry of text appeared before my eyes, as though floating like a barrage of comments. Laughable. Does the female supporting character really think the male lead is confessing to her? The male lead only confessed because he lost a dare to the female lead. He had no choice. The male lead is pitiful. Not only did the girl he secretly loved push him away, now he has to confess to this gold-digging school beauty. It's fine. It's fine. Once the male lead graduates and is recognized by the Silas family, inheriting their fortune, the female lead will naturally end up with him. Silas family? The ridiculously wealthy family that's said to be worth more than a country? I couldn't help but smile. This poor student? He's all mine. In the late autumn, the phoenix trees in front of the school building had covered the ground with a thick layer of fallen leaves. I stepped on them as I walked toward the lecture hall, my fingers unconsciously brushing over the screen of my phone. The chat interface lit up, then quickly dimmed again. The pinned conversation displayed, "Let's both calm down," with the timestamp from 7 days ago. Why hadn't Derek contacted me? What was he waiting for? Was he waiting for me to cry and rush back to him? To apologize as I had done countless times before? The cold wind whipped the rain against my face, and as I sniffed and was about to close the classroom window, a slender figure suddenly appeared in front of me. Silas, wearing a faded school uniform jacket that barely covered his thin shoulders, stood slightly hunched, a look of timidity in his eyes. "Leela." His voice was softer than the autumn breeze. I've liked you for a long time. Will you go out with me?" I froze. And in the next moment, I heard the suppressed snickers of the girls behind me. This scene felt absurd, like a poorly executed prank. Silas, the student who spent every day in the cafeteria eating plain buns, was daring to confess to Leela, the gold-digging school beauty who had held the title of campus queen for 3 years. I shook my head, about to politely decline, when suddenly, a barrage of text exploded before my eyes, hovering in the air like a stream of comments. "Look at how serious the female supporting character is. Does she really think the male lead is confessing to her? The male lead only confessed because he lost a dare to the female lead. He had no choice. The male lead is so pitiful. First, the girl he secretly loved pushed him away, and now he has to confess to this gold-digging school beauty. Don't worry. Once the male lead graduates and is recognized by the Silas family, inheriting their fortune, the female lead will naturally end up with him." The Silas family? That legendary billion-dollar family? I focused on the yellowed cuffs of the boy's uniform, then shifted my gaze to his eyes. Tevin's gaze was tense, but his eyes were as bright as black obsidian soaking in water, from the light reflecting off his lenses. I could clearly see the smile playing at the corner of my mouth. "Sure," I said, standing on my tiptoes to gently pinch his flushed lobby. "From today on, you're my boyfriend." Silas took a half step back, his glasses almost sliding off. He opened his mouth, his Adam's apple bobbing as he struggled to speak. Finally, having fulfilled my essay, he managed to croak out, "Leela, you're not joking, are you?" The comments exploded again. Is the female supporting character crazy? Did she really say yes? Oh no, the plot is falling apart. The female lead is still waiting for the male lead to fail and then comforting him so gently. This gold digger must have heard something. Wait, the male lead doesn't even know his own identity yet. Help. The male lead's expression is like he's seen a ghost. I'm dying laughing. I linked my arm through Silas's stiff one, ignoring the gasps from the people around us, and grinned as I spoke. "Of course. I'm not joking. Leela always keeps her word. Come on, boyfriend. Let's go get bubble tea." Silas, like a puppet on a string, let me drag him along. As we passed the bulletin board, I saw Derek's photo. The poster for the student council president election was still prominently displayed, with him dressed in a sharp suit, his smile so perfect it could be a magazine cover. 7 days ago, it was because he had been laughing too much with a junior at a club event that we had fought. He said I was overreacting. I said he had no sense of boundaries. And in the end, neither of us would back down. And the Cold War turned into a breakup. Back then, I thought that if I ignored Derek, he would come to coax me within a week. But now, his WeChat moments were still filled with various event photos, showing no signs of him thinking about me. What would you like to drink? Silas's voice interrupted my thoughts. He stood nervously in front of the bubble tea shop counter, his fingers twitching as he tugged at the hem of his uniform. I glanced at the menu and deliberately pointed to the most expensive item. The cheeseberry tea, this one. Large size. The comments started again. As expected. She's a gold digger. Making the male lead pay already. The male lead's living allowance is probably going to run out again this month. Poor baby. Hurry up and reject her. This type of girl isn't worth it. Silas's fingers hesitated for a moment. Then he fumbled in his school uniform pocket, pulling out crumpled change. He started counting it out to hand to the cashier. I noticed a crack on his knuckles where frostbite had torn the skin. And suddenly, I felt a pang of guilt. Add a cup of taro balls, I said. Then pulled 50 yuan from my wallet and handed it over. It's on me. Silas looked up at me in surprise. His eyes, hidden behind his glasses, were full of confusion. As though he was thinking, shouldn't the boyfriend be buying bubble tea for the girlfriend? The comments quieted for a few seconds before starting again. Has she changed her ways? She's definitely playing hard to get. There's a bigger expense waiting ahead. Female lead. Come quickly. Your male lead has been stolen by the vixen. When we got our drinks, I handed the cup with the taro balls to him. Here. For you. He took the warm tea carefully, his fingertips barely grazing the side of the cup as he whispered. Thank you. No need to thank me, I said, taking a sip of my own cheeseberry tea. The sweetness spread across my tongue. Who said it's always the boyfriend's job to buy bubble tea for the girlfriend? The girlfriend can buy it for the boyfriend too. Silas's ears turned pink again. He lowered his head and sipped his tea, his long eyelashes casting a faint shadow behind the lenses. This innocent, shy look of his was completely different from Derek's ever so casual demeanor. As I walked back to school with Silas, we passed the playground. From a distance, I saw Derek walking towards us with a few student council members. He was wearing a well-tailored coat, listening attentively to the girl beside him, with a faint smile playing on his lips, always leaving a little room for others. A week ago, he had smiled that same way at the junior. Hey, hadn't felt by it Sasham. I suddenly stopped, tiptoed, and whispered in Silas' ear. Play along with me. Before Silas could react, I pressed my hand to the back of his neck and kissed his cheek. The soft sensation on his cheek made Silas freeze, and his bubble tea almost slipped from his hand. Derek's footsteps faltered for a moment, and his gaze shot toward us, his fury glaring through his eyes. The bullet comments exploded in a frenzy. The female side character is so bold. Is she openly provoking her ex? Derek's face turned black. This is awesome. The male lead is stunned. He's never been kissed by a girl. Look at the female lead. She's about to blow a fuse over there. I followed the tips from the comments and looked over. Sure enough, under a camphor tree not far away stood a girl. My classmate's FRA. She was holding a few books. Her face pale, eyes red, looking like she had been wronged. So, this was the female lead. She did look innocent and harmless, like a frightened little rabbit. No wonder the bullet comments were all in her favor. We should go. I tugged at the still dazed Silas and deliberately walked past Derek. As we brushed past, I caught a faint unfamiliar scent of perfume from Derek, a sharp sting in my chest. But I didn't look back. Instead, I wrapped my arm tighter around Silas. Back at the dorm, my roommates immediately surrounded me, interrogating me with intense curiosity. Leela, are you really with Silas? Are you sure you're not sick? What's so good about that poor guy? Isn't Derek 100 times better than him? Did you do this on purpose just to get back at Derek? I leaned back in my chair, lazily stirring my bubble tea. Why can't it be serious? Silas is really a good guy. What's so good about him? My roommate asked. He can't even buy a new set of clothes. It's embarrassing to go out with him. The bullet comments flashed just in time. That's right. A gold-digging female side character could never genuinely like a poor guy. She must be keeping the male lead on a string until Derek and she get back together. Poor male lead. Just a tool for revenge. I put down my cup and said seriously. Does liking someone depend on how much money they have? Silas is clean and sincere. Way better than some arrogant guys. I admitted that I initially agreed to Silas because of the sudden bullet comments and my desire to get back at Derek. But when I saw Silas' pure and shy expression, something inside me stirred, lightly touching a corner of my heart. It was like a tickle. Maybe pretending to date this heir to a wealthy family, who would eventually be reclaimed by the upper crust, could be kind of interesting. After a while, I suddenly received a WeChat message from Silas. Thanks for the bubble tea today. He added a clumsy smiling face emoji. I stared at the emoji for a long time, unable to hold back a smile. When I was with Derek, his messages were always simple statements. And he never used such cute emojis. You're welcome, boyfriend. I replied with a playful tongue-out emoji. Shall we go to the library together tomorrow morning? Silas almost immediately replied, sure. I'll save us seats. I put down my phone and scrolled through my moments. Derek had posted an update. A picture from a student council meeting. With the caption, focus on the important things. Everything else is a distraction. Distraction? Was he talking about me? I sneered and clicked on Silas Moments. It was completely empty. Not even a line. Probably set to 3-day visibility. Or maybe he had never posted anything at all. This contrast made it even more interesting. One was a golden boy living in the spotlight. And the other was a hidden heir to a wealthy family. And I was the sharp-eyed, gold-digging campus belle. This plot was more exciting than anything I'd ever read in a novel. The next morning, when I arrived at the library, I saw Silas waiting for me at the bottom of the steps. He was wearing the same school jacket as yesterday, holding 2 books in his arms and a hot meat bun in his hand. Here. He handed me the bun. His fingertips trembling slightly. Just bought it. Still warm. I took it. The warmth spreading from my fingertips to my heart. Thanks. Have you eaten? I already ate. He lowered his head, the tips of his ears turning red again. But I clearly saw his other hand empty. And the crumbs on the corner of his mouth. Poor male lead. He bought breakfast for the female side character, but couldn't even eat it himself. That meat bun costs 2 yuan. Enough for him to have 2 meals of steamed buns in the cafeteria. Female side character. Go buy him one too. Heartless. The bullet comments made me feel a little guilty. I pulled him to the nearby breakfast shop. Boss. 2 more meat buns. And a cup of soy milk. Silas quickly waved his hand. No, I really ate. Just take it. I pressed the breakfast into his hands, deliberately putting on a serious face. Do you want me to eat alone? He froze for a moment, and obediently accepted it, murmuring, thanks. When we entered the library, Silas had indeed saved a good seat by the window. I didn't like studying, so I just stared blankly at my book. Silas sat across from me, quietly reading, his long lashes casting a fan-shaped shadow on his eyelids. His profile was clean and gentle. The sunlight filtered through the glass and bathed him in a golden glow, giving his messy hair a golden halo. I couldn't help but glance at him a few more times. Without the heir to a wealthy family label, Silas was actually quite a good-looking guy. Just to low-key usually and always wearing worn-out school uniforms, making him seem unremarkable. In contrast, Derek was always the center of attention, walking into any room with a natural aura. I used to love that star-like attention he got, thinking he was the kind of guy I should be with. But now, watching Silas' quiet profile as he read, I suddenly felt that dazzling light wasn't as appealing anymore. What are you looking at? Silas suddenly looked up, meeting my gaze. I hurriedly looked away, pretending to flip through my book. Nothing. You look handsome when you're studying so seriously. His face flushed immediately, and he quickly lowered his head, even the tips of his ears turning red. The female side character actually called the male lead handsome? The sun must have risen in the west. The male lead is blushing. He must be moved. No. Male lead. She's the gold-digging female side character. Stay clear-headed. The female lead is coming. The female lead is coming. She saw everything. My heart skipped a beat. I looked up and, sure enough, saw Serene standing by the bookshelf. She was wearing a white dress today, holding a book in her hands, and gazing at us with a complex expression, looking utterly pitiful. Based on my years of reading novels, I expected her to come over and assert her claim over the male lead with a heartbroken demeanor. But Serene only looked at us for a few seconds before she turned around and walked away, clutching her book, her figure looking somewhat desolate. Woo woo woo. My female lead is so distressed. Male lead. Hurry up and chase after her. She's your true destiny. Female supporting character. You vixen. Let go of the male lead. I raised an eyebrow. It seemed this female lead was more composed than I had imagined. The morning passed quickly. Silas worked diligently on his problems, while I pretended to read a book, but was actually keeping an eye on him, subtly studying the barrage of comments floating through the air. From the discussions in the comments, I pieced together the general plot of this world. Silas was the hidden heir of the Silas family, who had been sent away and concealed due to internal family struggles. He had been raised in hardship, living as a poor student to experience life in a humble way. Serene was his childhood friend and secret crush, the girl he had been in love with for years. Derek was the standard second, male lead born into a privileged family, initially involved with the female supporting character, which was me, and later would go against Silas and Serene. And I, Leela, was the villainous female supporting character, the one who would prevent the male and female leads from getting together. Eventually, having fulfilled my ascension, due to my gold-digging nature and jealousy, I would be completely abandoned by Silas once he regained his identity, with a tragic end. What a cliché and melodramatic plot. At lunchtime, we went to the cafeteria, and Silas insisted on paying. He fumbled in his pocket, pulling out a few crumpled bills, and ordered 2 meats and 1 vegetable. He placed most of the meat in my bowl, leaving himself only vegetables. You should eat more. I put the meat back into his bowl. You're still growing. Silas blushed. I'm already an adult. Haha. The male lead is so indulgent. Even though he's poor, he still gives the meat to the female supporting character. The female supporting character seems to have a conscience. Don't bully the honest guy. Look at Derek. He's glaring at the male lead over there. I followed the direction of the comments and saw that Derek was indeed sitting at a nearby table, coldly staring at us. The girl sitting across from him had said something, and he furrowed his brows, shaking his head, but his gaze never left me and Silas. Tevin noticed my attention and hesitated in his tone. It looks like he's watching you. Are you going to talk to him? Ignore him, I said to Silas, picking up a piece of pork and placing it in his bowl. Eat up. It'll get cold. Silas nodded and lowered his head to eat, though his ears were so red they seemed to be bleeding. After lunch, Silas had to go to his part-time job to clean the laboratory, and since I had nothing to do, I decided to follow him. The laboratory was on the 3rd floor of the old building, filled with the smell of chemical agents and dust. Silas skillfully picked up a mop and began mopping the floor seriously. The sunlight streamed into the high windows, and I could see the dust floating in the air. His figure seemed especially fragile against the light. I'll help you, I said, grabbing a cloth and starting to wipe down the lab table. Silas quickly protested. No, you go rest over there. This place is dirty. It's fine, I smiled. If the boyfriend is working, the girlfriend should help, right? When I said boyfriend, Silas's movements suddenly stiffened. He turned around, his eyes dimly staring at me through his glasses. Leela, why are you suddenly willing to be with me? That question caught me off guard. Yeah, why did I agree to be with him? Was it just because of the comments? Or because he was the hidden heir to a wealthy family? Or was it because, when I was disappointed with Derek, Silas's appearance had given me an easy way out, a chance to get back at Derek? Or was it simply because the sincerity and shyness in his eyes felt fresh? Special? I didn't know. Because you seem like a really nice person. I avoided his gaze, pretending to focus on cleaning the table. And I like smart guys. Your grades are pretty good, aren't they? That was actually the truth. Silas's name often appeared on the scholarship lists, while Derek, though capable, only had average grades. Silas clearly hadn't expected me to say that. He stood frozen, not reacting for a long time. The male lead is being seduced. The female supporting characters, tough love tactics so effective. It's over. It looks like the male lead really is falling for her. Female lead. Hurry up and save him. The male lead's about to be stolen. The comments began urging Zephyr to make her move. But even after we finished cleaning the lab, there was still no sign of her. I'll walk you back to your dorm. Silas picked up my bag and casually slung it over his shoulder. That gesture made me think of how Derek never did this. He always made me carry the heaviest things for him. When we reached the bottom of the dorm building, I suddenly remembered something. Oh, by the way, there's a movie premiere this weekend. Want to go watch it together? Silas's eyes lit up, then quickly dimmed. Movie tickets. Are they expensive? My heart breaks for him. The male lead can't even afford movie tickets. The female supporting character is probably going to show off now. Don't worry. The male lead will have his own private cinema soon. I pulled out 2 tickets from my bag. Don't worry. A friend gave them to me. No cost. Actually, I had bought these VIP tickets yesterday for a few hundred yuan. But seeing the relief in Silas's eyes, I didn't have the heart to tell him the truth. Great. He smiled like a child who had just received candy, showing 2 small tiger teeth. Then I'll come early to wait for you on the weekend. As I watched his happy back, I suddenly felt like maybe I was getting a little too immersed in this pretend relationship. The weekend soon arrived. Silas was waiting for me half an hour early downstairs from my dorm, wearing a new outfit though it still looked like cheap casual wear. At least it was clean and well pressed. You look different today, I said, scanning him up and down. He awkwardly scratched his head. I bought this discounted one from the supermarket yesterday. The male lead is so sincere. He won't even say something sweet. Ah wah. He must have wanted to look presentable for his date with the female supporting character. Look, the female lead is over there. She's holding movie tickets. Sure enough, I saw Zephyr not far away. She was tightly clutching to movie tickets, her face pale as she looked at us. Her pitiful appearance softened my heart, and even the comments seemed to sympathize. The female lead is so pitiful. She must have bought the same showtime as the male lead. Is this unrequited love? I'm tearing up. Female supporting character. Give the male lead back to the female lead. Silas followed my gaze. And when he saw Zephyr, he visibly froze for a moment, a complex emotion flashing in his eyes. The bullet comments immediately seized on this. The male lead still cares about the female lead. He's just intrigued by the female side character. Quick. Male lead. Go after the female lead. Don't let her be sad alone. As expected, the male and female leads are true love. The female side character was just an accident. A strange discomfort stirred in my chest, so I deliberately raised my voice. Let's go. The movie's about to start. Silas withdrew his gaze, nodding. But as he turned, he softly muttered, Zephyr looks like she's not very happy. Do you want to go comfort her? I stopped in my tracks and looked at him with a half smile. He quickly waved his hands. No. I just thought it was strange that she's standing there all alone. Male lead survival instincts are kicking in. The male lead is scared of being misunderstood by the female side character. So cute. What's cute about it? Did the female lead hear that? The male lead is ignoring her for the female side character. I didn't respond, just pulling him toward the theater. As we passed Zephyr, she had her head down, her shoulders slightly hunched, looking utterly wronged. Silas hesitated for a moment, as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, I dragged him away. Once inside the cinema, Silas seemed a bit out of place in the comfortable VIP seats. He sat down cautiously, not even daring to touch the popcorn bucket, as though afraid of dirtying the seat. Eat. I pushed the popcorn toward him. It's all free. You might as well enjoy it. He hesitated for a moment. Then picked up a piece and put it in his mouth, chewing slowly, his cheeks puffing out like a little hamster. I couldn't resist, gently poking him. His chewing paused, and he stared at me, stunned. I smiled, squinting my eyes, and pinched his cheek twice. Leela, there are so many people here. He gently swatted my hand away. His face flushed red. Stop it. Ah. My male lead is turning into the side male character. Nonsense. Why isn't the female side character turning into the female lead? I'm only seeing a pure-hearted male lead. I shook my head and quickly ignored the comments as the movie started. It was a romance film, with the male and female leads facing countless obstacles before finally coming together. And it made my heart ache. When the emotional scenes played, I couldn't help but wipe away a tear. Suddenly, a warm hand gently touched the back of my hand. Silas handed me a tissue, whispering, "Don't cry." I took the tissue, feeling warmth spread through me. Turning to look at him, I realized he wasn't watching the movie at all. He had been quietly observing me. His eyes filled with concern. The male lead is so gentle. He's secretly watching the female side character. What divine love is this? I'm shipping the female side character with the male lead. No. I'm team male and female lead. I can't betray them. But the male lead is so sweet to the female side character. The bullet comments began to diverge. But as I looked at Silas' serious profile, my heart inexplicably skipped a beat. After the movie ended, it started drizzling outside. Silas took off his jacket and carefully draped it over my shoulders. Don't catch a cold. The faint scent of laundry detergent mixed with the smell of fresh grass from him was pleasant. I pulled the jacket tighter around me and looked up at him. What about you? I'm strong. I'm not afraid of the cold, he said with a smile, revealing his little fangs. We walked side by side in the rain, the sound of the raindrops hitting the umbrella. Silas tilted most of the umbrella toward me, leaving half of his shoulder drenched. But he didn't mind at all. As we passed a dessert shop, I stopped. Let's go eat something. He glanced at the prices and whispered, "It seems really expensive here." "It's on me." I pulled him inside. "Consider it my treat for you accompanying me to the movie today." We ordered two desserts and sat by the window. Silas ate carefully, not noticing a bit of cream on the corner of his mouth. I couldn't help but take out a tissue and reached over to wipe it off. The moment my fingers touched his lips, he froze, his face turning betrayed at an almost visible speed. Sweetness overload. The female side character is flirting with the male lead again. The male lead's face is as red as a monkey's butt. This scene is too sweet. I'm about to switch sides. Female lead. Come quick. Your male lead is being stolen. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was a message from Derek. Can we talk? I froze for a moment when I saw the message. It had been 2 weeks, and he finally decided to contact me. Silas noticed my change in expression and asked softly, "What's wrong? Who sent the message?" "Nothing." I stuffed the phone back in my pocket. "Just someone unimportant. It's Derek. He must have heard about the female side character going out with the male lead and is jealous." The male side character can't hold it in anymore. The drama's about to start. Female side character. Reply to him. Tell him you're happy right now. I ignored the teasing comments and continued chatting with Silas. We talked about studies, life, and future plans. I found that although Silas seemed introverted, he actually had a lot of ideas and unique insights on many things. Talking with him was easy. Unlike with Derek, where I always had to be careful of my words and actions, afraid of saying something wrong that would upset him. Before I knew it, it had gotten late, and Silas insisted on walking me back to the dorm. When we reached the dorm building, he suddenly pulled a small box from his pocket and handed it to me. It's for you." I opened the box curiously. Inside was a silver necklace with a small star pendant. It didn't look expensive, but it was very delicate. This is. I looked up at him. He scratched his head awkwardly. I saved up for a long time to buy this. I wasn't sure if you'd like it. The male lead is so thoughtful. He must have saved up to buy this. Oh my god. My tears are priceless. The male lead loves her so much. Female side character. Accept it. This is his heartfelt gift. I looked into his sincere eyes, feeling warmth inside. This was the most special gift I'd ever received. More touching than the expensive jewelry Derek had given me. I love it. I took the necklace out. Can you put it on for me? Silas nodded and carefully took the necklace from me, walking behind me. He wasn't experienced at putting a necklace on a girl, and his movements were a bit clumsy. When his fingertips accidentally brushed my neck, I couldn't help but flinch. And his movements froze too. The tension is off the charts. The male lead's hand is shaking. Hurry up and put it on. Then kiss her. Once the necklace was on, he circled around to stand in front of me, inspecting it carefully before smiling and saying, "It looks great." "Thank you, Silas," I said, meeting his gaze seriously. His face reddened again, and he lowered his head, muttering, "You're welcome." Back in the dorm, I kept looking at the starry necklace around my neck, feeling sweetly content inside. My roommate leaned over, surprised. "Leela, that's a nice necklace. Did Derek give it to you?" "No." I smiled. "Silas gave it to me." "Silas?" My roommate's face was full of disbelief. "He actually gave you a gift? Are you sure? What's wrong with that?" I fingered the necklace. "He's been really good to me." My roommate scoffed. "What's the use of that? Can it be eaten? Don't let his little favors fool you. He's a poor student. What can he give you?" She's right. Silas is just a poor student. What can he offer the female supporting character? You guys don't get it. Once the male lead regains his status, the first thing he'll do is dump the female supporting character. Break up already. Let our female lead get together with the wealthy male lead. Break up now. Female supporting character. Wake up. Don't keep lying to yourself. The comments echoed my roommate's words, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Do relationships always have to be measured by money? Silas may not have money right now, but everything he does for others is sincere. Isn't that enough? That night, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Derek's WeChat message still sat in my chat box. I hesitated for a long time but still didn't reply. I didn't know what I felt for Silas, whether I had really fallen for him, or if it was just because he was the hidden heir, or perhaps just to spite Derek. But one thing was clear: when I was with Silas, I was happy and at ease, something I had never felt with Derek. The next morning, as soon as I arrived at class, I saw Derek sitting next to my seat. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his hair perfectly styled, looking vibrant and full of energy. "Leela, you're here," he said, standing up with the familiar smile he always wore. The students around us began to gossip quietly, stealing glances at us. The comments also started lighting up. The second male lead is finally making a move. Is he going to fight with the male lead for the female supporting character? Derek looks so handsome in that suit. Way better than the male lead's cheap clothes. Female supporting character. Come to your senses. The second male lead is your true match. Where's the male lead? Why hasn't he shown up? Is he being cuckolded? I frowned. Why are you sitting here? I want to talk to you. He took my hand. Can we go outside and talk? His hand was still as warm as ever, and I felt a wave of confusion wash over me. But I quickly pulled my hand away. Whatever you have to say, you can say here. I still have class. Derek's face stiffened. It seemed he hadn't expected me to reject him. He took a deep breath, lowering his tone. "Leela, I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to have the silent treatment for so long. Let's make up, okay?" The second male lead is apologizing. He's actually lowering his pride. Female supporting character. Hurry up and accept. The second male lead is swallowing his pride. Of course. The second male lead still loves the female supporting character. The male lead is here. He heard it. I turned my head. Silas was standing at the door of the classroom. wearing a backpack. His face pale as he watched us. His eyes full of disappointment and unease. Poor male lead. He walks in and sees this scene. Heartbreaking for the male lead. He must think the female supporting character is going to get back together with the second male lead. Female supporting character. Explain quickly. Don't let the male lead misunderstand. What's there to explain? Isn't this the plot returning to the original path? My heart tightened. And I quickly said to Derek. Sorry, Derek. We've broken up. There's no chance of getting back together. Derek froze, staring at me in disbelief. Why? Is it because of that poor student? Leela. Are you crazy? What can he give you? He can give me happiness. I looked him in the eye. Speaking seriously. That's something you can't give me. With that, I ignored the shock on Derek's face and walked straight to Silas. Taking his hand. Let's go. Let's switch seats. Silas's hand was cold and slightly trembling. He lowered his head. Speaking softly. You don't have to do this because of me. I'm not doing it because of you. I interrupted him. I'm doing it for myself. I like being with you. Silas. Upon hearing this, Silas suddenly looked up, his eyes shining brightly as if stars were sparkling within them. The female supporting character confessed. She's actually fallen for the male lead. Ha ha ha. So sweet. I knew they'd end up together. The plot is completely falling apart. The male and female leads are now the female supporting character and male lead. Where's the female lead? Someone save the situation. Derek's face turned green with rage as he rushed over. Trying to grab me. Leela. Stop messing around. Come with me. Silas instinctively stepped in front of me, shielding me. Although Silas was much smaller than Derek, his gaze was resolute. Please show some respect. She's already said she doesn't want to get back together with you. Derek sneered. What are you? A core student daring to interfere with my business. I'm her boyfriend. Silas stood tall. And I won't allow you to bully her. The male lead is so manly. He's standing up to the second male lead for the female supporting character. The male lead is so handsome. This is what a real man looks like. The second male lead looks so green with envy. Awesome. Derek was speechless. His anger choking him. He shot Silas a glare, looked at me one last time, and stormed out of the classroom. The students in the classroom were stunned, never expecting the usually quiet Silas to stand up to Derek, and they certainly hadn't expected me to reject Derek's plea to get back together. Silas held my hand, his palms sweaty. He looked at me nervously. I messed up, didn't I? Derek. It's fine. I smiled. Don't worry about him. I'm here. He nodded, a small smile appearing on his face, though his ears were once again red. In the days that followed, Silas and I grew closer. We went to class together, studied in the library, and had meals in the cafeteria. Silas remained as considerate as ever, always leaving the best things for me. While he scrimped and saved, Derek no longer came to disturb us. But his gaze towards Silas grew more and more unfriendly. He often made petty moves behind the scenes, like deliberately sabotaging the club activities Silas was in charge of or giving Silas a hard time during scholarship evaluations. Silas always endured silently, never complaining. But I saw it, and it hurt me deeply. Silas, why don't you stand up for yourself when he bullies you? I couldn't help but ask him. He smiled lightly. It's fine. As long as it doesn't affect my studies. And I don't want to trouble you. The male lead is too gentle, always thinking of the female side character. I feel sorry for the male lead. He's being bullied by the second male lead and still staying silent. Female side character. Go get revenge for the male lead. Don't let him suffer in silence. Why hasn't the male lead's true identity been revealed yet? I can't wait to see him slap the sec and male lead's face. I knew Silas was trying to spare me worry, but I couldn't just watch him be mistreated. I started gathering evidence of Derek's mistreatment of Silas, planning to teach him a lesson at the right moment. Meanwhile, Zephyre kept showing up in front of us. She wasn't hiding anymore. Instead, she actively approached Silas. finding all sorts of excuses to talk to him. The female lead is finally striking back. She's going to steal the male lead from the female side character. The female lead must have discovered the male lead's true identity as an heir. Of course. She's going to win him back. Go, go, female lead. Take the male lead away from the female side character. Male lead. Please don't waver. The female side character is the one who truly cares about you. Silas kept his distance from Zephyr, his attitude polite but distant. Every time Zephyr came to talk to him, he would unconsciously look at me, as if asking for my approval. Seeing him like that warmed my heart, knowing that he cared about me. The midterm exam results came out. Silas was once again first in the grade, and I had improved significantly as well. We went to the cafeteria to celebrate. And Silas, unusually generous, bought a serving of sweet and sour ribs and put all of it in my bowl. You should eat too. I put the ribs back into his bowl. You came first. You should eat more. He smiled and shook his head. I don't like sweet food. You eat it. The male lead is lying again. He clearly said he liked sweet and sour ribs last time. A WW. The male lead always saves the best for the female side character. This is love. He even leaves the best food for the other person. The female lead is here. She's holding something. Zephyr walked over with a milk tea bag, a gentle smile on her face. Silas. Congratulations on coming first again. This is milk tea I bought for you. To celebrate. Silas froze for a moment, and before he could speak, I cut in. Thanks. But he doesn't like milk tea. I already bought him soy milk. Zephyr's smile faltered, and a flicker of disappointment passed through her eyes. Oh. That's too bad. Nice job. Female side character. Claiming your territory. The female lead hit a wall. The male lead is with the female side character. Male lead. Quickly reject the female lead. Don't give her any hope. Silas nodded and agreed. Yeah. I prefer soy milk. Thank you. Zephyr. Zephyr's face turned even paler, and she forced a smile before turning and leaving. Watching her retreating figure, I felt the pang of unease in my heart. But I knew that love is selfish. I couldn't give up on the person I liked just because I felt sorry for her. After the exams, the school organized an autumn outing. Silas and I signed up, only to find that Derek and Zephyr had also signed up. It's a battlefield. The four of them are going on an autumn outing together. This is going to be good. I wonder who will come out on top this time. Male and female leads. Side character and second male lead all in the same frame. So intense. The outing was to a beautiful mountain area. We climbed up the mountain path, with Silas walking beside me, occasionally helping me, as though worry died fall. Derek followed behind us, his face dark with resentment, occasionally shooting Silas venomous glances. Zephyr walked at the back, silently watching us, her expression complicated. By the time we reached halfway up the mountain, I was a little tired, so Silas stopped to rest with me. He took out water and bread from his bag and handed it to me. Let's replenish some energy. You should eat too. I divided the bread and handed him half. We sat together, eating and chatting, the sunlight filtering through the trees and casting warm, pleasant rays over us. Just then, Derek walked over, intentionally bumping into Silas, causing the bread in his hand to fall to the ground. Oops. Sorry. Derek said insincerely. I didn't mean to. The second male lead is too much. He's bullying the male lead on purpose. The male lead's bread fell. That was his lunch. I feel so bad for the male lead. He probably can't afford to buy another one. Silas frowned but said nothing. He silently picked up the bread from the ground and threw it in the trash. I was furious, standing up and saying to Derek, "Derek, you're going too far. You did that on purpose." "I already told you I didn't mean it," Derek said nonchalantly. "It's just a piece of bread. What's the big deal?" "Silas, I'll buy you another one." Saying this, he pulled out an expensive imported loaf of bread from his bag and threw it at Silas. "Take it. You poor bastard. Don't starve." Silas's face instantly turned pale. He didn't take the bread. and it fell to the ground. He looked at Derek. His eyes filled with humiliation and anger. But still said nothing. The second male lead insulted the male lead. He called him a poor bastard. Male lead. Fight back. You can't just let this slide. I'm heartbroken. The male lead's dignity is being crushed underfoot. Female side character. Please help the male lead. Don't let him suffer like this. I couldn't take it anymore. I rushed up and shoved Derek. Derek. You bastard. Why are you saying such things to Silas? Do you think your money makes you better than him? Derek didn't expect me to react this way. He staggered but regained his balance. He glared at me. Leela. You pushed me for this poor guy? Are you really crazy? I'm not crazy. I stepped in front of Silas. Glaring at Derek. Silas is 1,000 times. 10,000 times better than you. At least he knows how to respect others. Unlike you. Who is nothing but money. The female side character is fierce. She's confronting the second male lead for the male lead. Well said. The second male lead is just a jerk who relies on money. The female side character is so cool. This is what love should look like. Male lead. Protect the female side character. The second male lead is about to explode. Derek's face alternated between blue and white from my words. He pointed at me. Unable to speak in anger. Just then, Silas suddenly stood up and tugged at my arm. Leela. It's okay. Don't argue with him. But he went out a little sorry. I wanted to say more. But Silas interrupted me. It's fine. He looked at me. His gaze warm and firm. I don't care what he says. I only care about you. The male lead's love confession is a heartbeaker. It's so sweet. Haha. I'm dying. What kind of divine love is this? The second male lead is totally ignored. How awkward. Derek watched us openly display our affection. Trembling with anger. With a cold snort, he turned and stormed off. Zephyre had been standing silently on the side, and upon seeing this, her eyes filled with a mix of disappointment and jealousy. She glanced at us, then turned and followed Derek out. The female lead is leading too. The battlefield is over. The male lead and the female supporting character won. So happy. I'll take my share of this dog food. Cheers to that. Watching them leave, I let out a breath of relief. Then turned to Silas and said, I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble. Silas shook his head and smiled. It's fine. Thank you. Leela. Thank me for what? I asked curiously. Thank you for defending me. He looked at me. His gaze so gentle it could melt the coldest heart. This is the first time someone has spoken up for me. Ugh. The male lead is so pitiful. This is the first time someone stood up for him. The female supporting character is his light. She's brightened up his world. They must be together. They really must. My heart twisted. A pang of sweetness and bitterness mixing in my chest. I reached out, wrapping my arms tightly around him. Silas. I will always protect you from now on. Silas stiffened for a moment. Then gently hugged me back, resting his chin on the top of my head and whispering. I'll protect you too. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, warming us both in a peaceful embrace. I leaned into Silas's arms, hearing the steady beat of his heart, feeling completely safe. I knew then. I had truly fallen for this kind, gentle, and pure-hearted boy. Whether or not he was the heir to a wealthy family didn't matter, I liked him. After the autumn trip, Silas and I grew even closer. We were inseparable. Attending classes together. Eating together. Studying in the library together. Silas remained as thoughtful as always. Always making sure I had the best of everything. While he went without. Derek hadn't tried to trouble us again. Perhaps my words last time had stung him. Zephyre had also become more restrained. No longer approaching Silas. Life passed by peacefully and happily. Until the day before the final exams. That day, Silas and I were studying in the library when I suddenly received a strange text message. Do you want to know Silas's secret? Meet me in the small woods behind the school. And I'll tell you. My heart skipped a beat when I read the message. Silas's secret. Could it be about his identity as the heir to a wealthy family? Mysterious message. Drama incoming. Who sent it? Could it be the female lead? They must be trying to stir up trouble. Female supporting character. Don't go. Curiosity killed the cat, but I'm so curious. After hesitating for a moment, I decided to go see for myself. I turned to Silas. Silas. I'm feeling a bit unwell. I'll go to the restroom. You keep studying. Okay? Silas looked at me with concern. What's wrong? Do you need to go to the hospital? No need. Just a little stomachache. I'll be fine in a bit. I smiled and reassured him. Don't worry. Just wait for me here. He nodded. Come back quickly. The female supporting character is going to the meeting. I'm nervous. Please, don't let it be a trap. The male lead is so innocent. He actually believes her. Following the instructions in the message, I walked to the small woods behind the school. It was a place few people visited. Dark and dreary, making me feel uneasy. Who's calling me? I called out, gathering my courage. A figure stepped out from behind the trees. It was Serene. As expected. It's the female lead. What is she up to? Is she finally going to show her cards? Is she going to expose the male lead's identity? I eyed her warily. Did you send the message? What secret do you want to tell me? Serene looked at me. Her eyes filled with jealousy and resentment. Leela. Do you really think Silas likes you? Why not? I frowned. We're happy together. Happy? Serene sneered. Do you know who he really is? Do you know why he came to this school? Here it comes. The female lead is about to spill the beans. The male lead's identity is about to be exposed. The female supporting character is about to learn the truth. What will she do? My heart tightened. But I forced myself to remain calm. It doesn't matter who he is. I like him for who he is. Not his identity. You're lying. Serene said, her voice trembling with emotion. You don't truly like him. You just think he's easy to manipulate. A way to make Derek jealous. I'm not. I looked at her seriously. I truly like Silas. Truly? Serene seemed to hear the greatest joke in the world. Do you know he's the heir to the Silas family? The super-rich Silas family. He came to this school just to experience life. And when he goes back, he'll inherit billions. Do you really think he'd be interested in a gold-digging woman like you? The truth is out. The male lead is the heir to the Silas family. The female supporting character knows now. What will she do? The female lead is trying to drive a wedge between them. So wicked. I had already known this secret. But hearing it come directly from Serene's mouth, my feelings were complicated. I looked at her and calmly said, so what? Serene froze. She stared at me, her eyes full of despair and unwillingness. Then why are you still with him? You know he doesn't belong here. You know he'll leave sooner or later. Because I like him, I said seriously, looking straight at her. No matter who he is. No matter if he leaves someday. I like him now. That's enough. Well said. That's what love is. The female lead has lost. The female supporting character is so cool. I'm a fan now. Serene looked at me, her lips trembling. But no words came out. After a long silence, she finally spoke, her voice breaking. But I like him too. I only realized it when I saw you two together. I've liked him for so long. Watching her cry, with tears streaming down her face, I felt a pang in my heart. But I knew. Love isn't something you can force. Being in love doesn't mean you own the person. I looked at her. Feelings can't be forced. Silas doesn't like you. That's the truth. You should learn to let go and find the happiness that truly belongs to you. Serene didn't say anything. She just crouched on the ground, hugging her knees and crying. Seeing her so heartbroken, I sighed and turned to leave the grove. Back in the library, Silas immediately approached me, worry written all over his face. Leela, are you okay? You've been gone for so long. I'm fine. I smiled. I think I just ate something bad. I'm feeling better now. Silas let out a relieved sigh. Thank goodness. Let's keep studying. I nodded and returned to my seat with him. As I watched Silas focus on his studies, I silently vowed that no matter what happened in the future, I would trust his choices. After the final exams, the school began the winter holiday. Silas and I promised to video chat every day. The holiday flew by, and before I knew it, it was New Year's Eve. I was video chatting with Silas, watching him sit in his modest rented apartment, dressed in new clothes. And I couldn't help but feel a little heartache. "Silas, are you spending New Year alone?" I asked. He smiled. "I'm used to it. What about you? Are you enjoying New Year with your family?" "It's fun. But I miss you a bit," I said seriously, looking at him. Silas's face immediately turned red, and he scratched his head, shyly saying, "I miss you too." New Year's love confession. So sweet. The male lead and the female side character are so sweet together. When will the male lead's true identity be revealed? Just then, Silas's side suddenly went silent, and the video froze for a few seconds. But it quickly returned to normal. "What happened?" I asked curiously. "Nothing. Just a call from an unknown number." He spoke casually, but I noticed that his gaze seemed a little off. "Something's going on. That call must be important. Could it be someone from his family? Is the male lead about to reveal his identity?" Not long after, Silas's side began to freeze again. Considering the comments, I thought for a moment and decided to hang up the video call myself. That night, I received a message from Silas. "Leela, I need to take a semester off. When I come back, I have something very important to tell you." The chat comments immediately exploded. "The male lead is leaving. Is he going back to his family to reveal his identity? I don't want them to be separated. Male lead, tell us what's so important." I had a vague feeling of unease in my heart and quickly replied, "Okay, I'll wait for you." Silas didn't reply right away, but the chat box occasionally showed typing. By the time I finished New Year's dinner with my family and was about to sleep, my phone suddenly dinged. I opened it to see a message from Silas. "Happy New Year. Leela, I love you." Looking at those simple words, my face immediately flushed, and my heart raced. My fingers trembled slightly as I carefully typed, "Silas, I love you too." He didn't reply after that. Looking at the dark screen, I felt a hollow ache in my heart. The last 3 words Silas said left me both happy and uneasy. What had happened to him? What was the important thing he wanted to tell me? Was restoring his identity as the heir to a wealthy family really that complicated? The male lead confessed his love to the female side character. So happy. But I have a bad feeling about this. The male lead won't disappear for good. Will he? Don't jinx it. The male lead will definitely come back to the female side character. In the following days, Silas's phone remained unreachable, and he didn't reply to my WeChat messages. I grew more and more worried, not knowing what had happened to him. This situation persisted until the school resumed. My roommate saw how worried I was and tried to comfort me. "Leela, don't worry. Silas is definitely fine. Maybe he's just dealing with family matters and forgot to reply to your messages." But the unease in my heart only grew stronger. I kept feeling that Silas's departure had something to do with that phone call and his identity. The female side character is so pitiful. She can't reach the male lead. What if the male lead really abandons the female side character after restoring his identity? Like in the story? No. I won't let that happen. What about the female lead? Shouldn't she do something about it? Just when I was feeling desperate, Zephyr suddenly sent me a WeChat message, "Leela, stop waiting for Silas. He won't be coming back." When I saw the message, my heart dropped. I quickly replied, "What do you mean? What happened to Silas?" Zephyr replied quickly, "He went back to the Silas family. He's the heir of the Silas family. And he won't return to this ordinary university anymore." The female lead is sowing discord. She's so malicious. Don't believe her. Female side character. The male lead isn't like that. The male lead must have his reasons. I looked at Zephyr's message, feeling uncomfortable, but I refused to believe what she said. Silas wasn't like that. His feelings for me were genuine, and his confession of love was real. I replied to Zephyr, "I trust Silas. He wouldn't lie to me." Zephyr, "Stop being foolish. Leela, you and he are from 2 different worlds. How could he truly like you?" Once he returns to the Silas family, he'll get engaged to a wealthy young lady. And you won't even be able to see him anymore. The female lead is too cruel. Saying such things about the male lead and the female side character. Don't let her brainwash you. Female side character. Male lead. Come back and slap her face. I didn't reply to Zephyr anymore, knowing that arguing with her was pointless. I trusted Silas, and I believed that he would come back to find me. But as the days passed, Silas still hadn't contacted me. My heart grew heavier, and my anxiety deepened. Months went by. In recent days, Silas's seat had remained empty, a layer of fin dust accumulating on the desk. The male lead hasn't returned. My heart hurts so much. Is what the female lead said true? Did the male lead really abandon the female supporting character? No, I can't accept this ending. I sat listlessly at my seat, my heart filled with despair and sorrow. Could it really be true, as Zephyr said, that Silas wouldn't come back? Had all the kindness he'd shown me, the love he professed, disappeared along with his regained identity? Just as I was on the verge of giving up, Derek suddenly walked up to me with a smug smile on his face. Leela, Elenin. I told you from the start. Someone like Silas is completely unreliable. I bet you regret it now. Huh? I ignored him, silently staring at Silas's empty seat, but Derek wouldn't give up. Leela. Come back to me. I know you still like me. Let's start over. Alright. The second male lead is trying to slip in again. How annoying. Female supporting character. Refuse him quickly. The male lead will definitely come back. I looked up, my gaze cold. Derek. Let me say this one last time. I don't like you. I love Silas. Even if he doesn't come back, I won't be with you. Derek's face immediately darkened. Leela. Don't be shameless. That poor guy has already dumped you. And you're still thinking about him? Are you that desperate? The second male lead is too much. How dare he say that about the female supporting character? Female supporting character. Stand up for yourself. Don't let him be so arrogant. I trembled with anger, about to stand up and retort, when suddenly, a familiar voice rang out from the door. You dare say that again? I turned around sharply, and tears immediately sprang to my eyes. Silas stood at the door, dressed in a well-tailored designer suit, his hair neatly combed, a faint smile on his face, his eyes gazing at me with tenderness. He had returned. The male lead is back. So handsome. Ha ha ha. I'm crying. The male lead is finally back. The male lead has regained his identity. How powerful. The second male lead is doomed. Derek's face turned pale as he saw Silas. He looked at Silas in disbelief, stammering. You're here? How are you dressed like this? Silas ignored him and walked straight to me. He crouched down, took my hand in his eyes full of guilt and warmth. Leela, I'm sorry I came back late. I've made you suffer. I looked at him, tears flowing uncontrollably. Where have you been? Why didn't you reply to my messages? Do you have any idea how worried I was about you? I'm sorry. Silas apologized repeatedly. So much has happened recently. There were things I couldn't avoid. I just finished handling it now. I'm sorry for making you worry. So the male lead had a valid reason. I knew it. Thank goodness. The misunderstanding is cleared up. Male lead. Please, don't make the female supporting character sad anymore. What female supporting character? Leela is the female lead. Okay? Looking into his sincere eyes, all the grievances and anxieties in my heart melted away. I threw myself into his arms, holding him tightly. You're back. That's all that matters. You're back. Silas held me tightly, resting his chin on the top of my head, whispering softly. I'm back, everything's still my obsession. Leela. I'll never leave you again. Sweetness overload. This is so sweet. They must be together forever. The second male lead and female lead have both been defeated. Derek stood frozen, his face alternating between green and white, unable to say a word. He probably never expected that the poor student he looked down on had suddenly transformed into a rich young man in a designer suit. Silas finally let go of me. Stood up, and looked coldly at Derek. Who did you just call a poor kid? Who dumped her? Derek was taken aback by Silas's powerful presence. Instinctively taking a step back. I. Speak up. Silas pressed, stepping closer. Don't you always measure everything with money? Now tell me. Who do you think is more worthy of standing by Leela's side, me or you? The male lead is fiercely protecting his woman. So handsome. The second male lead is scared. He's been totally defeated. This is what a wealthy, good-looking, and devoted male lead looks like? I'm in love. Derek's face turned red and pale in turns. And in front of the whole class, he ran out of the room in defeat. Watching his pitiful retreat, the classroom erupted into suppressed laughter. Silas turned to me, gently wiping away my tears. It's okay. Don't cry. The bad guy has been driven away. I looked at him, unable to hold back as I threw myself back into his arms. You scared me. I thought you weren't coming back. Fool. Silas smiled. I told you I'd come back for you. And I always keep my word. They're feeding us so much dog food. My teeth are going to rot from all this sweetness. They're locked in. I've swallowed the key. What about the female lead? She must be furious right now. Speaking of Zephyr, I suddenly remembered the message she had sent earlier. I looked up at Silas. Silas. Zephyr said you're the heir to the Silas family. Is that true? Silas hesitated for a moment before nodding. Yes. It's true. I only found out about it on New Year's Eve. The past 6 months. Since I went back to my family, I've been undergoing training from the elders. He paused for a moment, his voice uncertain. I didn't mean to deceive you or test your sincerity. I truly didn't know. I placed my finger on his lips, shaking my head. Even if you lied to me, I don't mind. I like you for who you are. Whether you're Silas, the poor student, or Silas, the heir to the Silas family. I like you. Silas looked at me, his eyes filled with emotion. Leela. Thank you. Have you finished dealing with things at home? I asked with concern. It's all done. Silas smiled. Now I can be with you openly. No more hiding. Great. They can finally be together without any secrets. True love conquers all. This is the ending I wanted to see. The classmates immediately gathered around, bombarding him with questions. Silas. Are you really the heir to the Silas family? Silas. Why did you pretend to be a poor student before? Silas. When did you and Leela get together? Silas patiently answered his classmates' questions, always holding my hand, his gaze gentle. Just then, Zephyr suddenly appeared at the door of the classroom. She looked at us, her eyes filled with sorrow and unwillingness. Silas, seeing her, froze for a moment before letting go of my hand and walking over to her. Zephyr, can we talk? Zephyr nodded, following him out of the classroom. The male-led and female-led are having a private conversation. Could the male-led be about to clarify things with the female lead? Don't worry. Female side character. The male-led only has eyes for you. I felt a little uneasy but still chose to trust Silas. Before long, Silas returned. He looked at me and smiled. It's all sorted. What did you talk about? I asked, curious. Nothing much, Silas said with a smile. I just told her that I've always considered her a good friend. And the one I love is you. The male lead did great. He's completely set boundaries with the female lead. The female lead can finally let go. Great. No more obstacles. I looked at Silas, feeling warmth in my heart. Silas had regained his identity as the heir to the Silas family. But he hadn't changed. He still went to class with me every day, studied at the library, and had meals at the cafeteria. Only now, he no longer wore the old school uniform but dressed in neat, designer clothes. And there was a butler by his side. At first, I struggled with the change. But Silas was always patient with me, helping me adjust slowly. After that, Derek never caused trouble for us again. I heard that he had been severely reprimanded by his family because of what happened before. and he had become much more subdued. Zephyre also transferred to another school. And I heard she moved to a different city to start a new life. The male and female leads are offline. Only the sweet daily life of the male-led and female side character remains. This is the best ending. I hope they stay happy forever. Time flew by. And soon it was graduation season. At the graduation ceremony, Silas gave a speech as the representative of the outstanding graduates. He stood on stage, confident and composed, his eyes always gently focused on me. Finally, "I want to thank someone," Silas said, looking at me with deep affection. "Thank you for seeing my brilliance when I was at my most ordinary. Thank you for standing by me when I faced difficulties. Thank you for showing me what true love is. Leela, I love you." A public confession at the graduation ceremony. So romantic. I'm crying. What a fairy tale romance. Marry him. Marry him. Amid the cheers of all the students, Silas stepped off the stage, dropped to one knee, and took out a delicate ring box. "Leela, will you marry me?" I looked at him, tears flowing down my cheeks, and nodded vigorously. "Yes." Silas smiled, slipping the ring onto my finger before standing up and pulling me into a tight embrace. This wasn't the fairy tale ending. But Silas and I knew that our story had only just begun. After graduation, Silas and I had a grand wedding. At the wedding, Silas's family treated me very well. And they didn't look down on me because of my ordinary background. After the wedding, Silas didn't ask me to give up my career. Instead, he supported me in doing what I loved. He said that he loved the independent, confident Leela, not a vine that clings to him. We traveled together, went to the movies, cooked meals together, and lived a simple, happy life. Sometimes, I would think back to when we first got together, recalling the comments that floated before my eyes. If it weren't for those comments, I might have never noticed that clean-cut boy in a worn-out school uniform, never known that love could be so simple, so pure. I looked at Silas, who was sleeping beside me, and couldn't resist kissing his face. Silas groggily opened his eyes and smiled, pulling me into his arms. "What's wrong?" "My wife." "Nothing." I smiled. "I just feel so happy." Silas hugged me tightly and whispered in my ear, "Me too." The end. Fireworks. This is the sweetest novel I've ever read. I wish them eternal happiness. The moonlight streamed through the window, gentle and serene. I leaned against Silas, listening to his steady breathing, feeling a deep sense of happiness and contentment in my heart. I knew this was the life I wanted, simple and happy. As long as I had him. The end. Because I exchanged just a few extra words with the financial mogul Julian, Evan punished me relentlessly for 3 whole days. On the 4th day, I completely collapsed from exhaustion and came down with a high fever. Only then did he finally let me off the hook. I thought it was a sign of how deeply Evan loved me. Until the day I found out I was pregnant. I went to his company, wanting to share the joyful news with him, only to overhear his friend asking in confusion, "Evan, do you really love Elena?" Evan's voice was cold, as if speaking of someone irrelevant. "What's love worth? If marrying her makes Lena happy, then what's a little sacrifice from me?" So it turned out that Evan only married me so Lena could be with the one she truly loved. That moment, I was completely shattered. I terminated the pregnancy and disappeared without a word. When we met again, he looked at my now round belly and went utterly mad. Hearing Evan's words that day, my whole body felt like it had fallen into an icy abyss. I silently clenched the prenatal report in my hand. I had come so happily, planning to surprise him, yet now, standing outside the door, trembling and unable to walk in, I felt like the biggest joke of all. Just then, one LOL sigh. The door swung open from inside. Facing the surprised gaze of Evan's friend, I quickly forced a smile and nodded in greeting. Evan didn't even lift his head. "When did you get here?" I fought hard to suppress the rising wave of pain, managed a faint smile, and spoke in a hoarse voice. "I just wanted to see you." He snorted. "Worried Lena and I are alone at the office?" "Elena, stop being so paranoid. If you're really bored, I'll sign you up for more classes to keep you occupied." That was always how Evan spoke, aloof, indifferent, dismissing everything with casual remarks. He never once tried to understand my emotions. If I hadn't gone to the study that night because I couldn't sleep, if I hadn't seen Lena wearing his shirt, lounging on the balcony in a flirtatious pose, would I really have overthought things? I wasn't. I don't want any of that. I wasn't good with words. Couldn't argue well. Which only made Evan mock me even more. Then what do you want? Why, time? Stop being unreasonable. Elena. I have over 100 employees at the company. I can't prioritize your happiness. Why can't you learn from Lena? She's so understanding and helps take a load off my shoulders. My heart ached. Hadn't I sacrificed enough for him too? It's just that once Lena joined a company, Evan never gave me another chance. Lena's getting married? I noticed the wedding invitation in his hand and still clung to a sliver of hope. Evan, when are we getting married? There's no rush. He answered without hesitation. Lena's mother entrusted her to me, need to take care of her marriage before anything else. What are you wearing? You'll catch a cold and make Maggie worry again. His evasive attitude was all the answer I needed. My face went pale, and I felt a chill down my spine. So it was true, he only stayed with me for Lena's happiness. No wonder the other day, after I merely chatted with Julian for a few moments, he had punished me to the point of near collapse. After all, if you truly loved someone, how could you disregard her health and take your anger out on her like that? My eyes began to redden. I turned away and pretended to sip tea, but my fingers trembled around the cup. While I was lost in thought, the head of our D was called in. He and Evan discussed the new fragrance project for quite some time. In the end, the manager looked toward me and said, compared to Lena's draft, the client might actually prefer Mrs. Elena's version. My heart skipped a beat. This project had been my brainchild. I had poured my heart and soul into it. If I could return to working on it, I'd be overjoyed. But Evan dismissed it without hesitation. Elena just dabbles in this stuff. What does she really know? The manager was caught off guard. Are you saying the industry expert I hired with a high salary is inferior to your wife's casual experiments? Lena was talented. Yes, but in this field, talent alone wasn't everything. Still, everyone could see how biased Evan was toward Lena. And no one dared to criticize her. My desire for this fragrance project pushed me to speak up again. Evan, I was originally in charge of this project. I only handed it over to Lena because of the wedding preparations. Since she's getting married now, why not let me take it back? There's no need. The smile I'd managed to maintain froze on my face as Evan coldly cut me down. You've been away from the company for 3 months. What if you mess it up? Elena, don't dream beyond your capabilities. His words made my hand fall limply from his arm. I looked heartbroken. Even the manager glanced away, unable to bear the sight of my tear-filled eyes. This project isn't just about success, it's going to compete in a major industry event. You're a non-professional with only a bachelor's degree. How could you compare to Lena? I understood. Evan wanted all the glory to go to Lena. He was always biased toward her even when she was about to marry someone else. He still adored her. When I didn't speak, Evan sneered. What? Worried Lena and I will keep working alone together? I'm not. But before I could explain, he cut me off. I've known Lena far longer than I've known you. Elena, stop being jealous, it just makes you look petty and narrow-minded. If you can't even offer basic trust, how can you possibly be my wife in the future? Once again, he blamed me. I really care about this project, it means everything to me. But no matter what I said, he shot it all down. My voice grew weaker and weaker. Then Lena called. Evan didn't even glance at me before heading straight downstairs to meet her in the CAF. He was so attentive with her even at the CAF. He thoughtfully ordered all her favorite treats. Before she arrived, he even wiped down the table and chairs. When she spoke, he leaned in to listen closely. He never did that for me. With me, he was always aloof and domineering. Like a god presiding over my life. Controlling everything. But once, he did treat me well. When he first pursued me, Evan had been gentle and considerate, waiting downstairs for me every day, bringing homemade lunches. When I accidentally burned myself with hot water, He had been devastated. After we got together, he even publicly declared our relationship. Though we never got a marriage certificate. Everyone called me Mrs. Evan. Everyone believed he was madly in love with me. That we were destined to be together. Were those all lies? I didn't know anymore. But as I fell deeper and deeper for him, and rejected the arranged marriage with the Julian family, that's when Evan really began to change. At that moment, I was hiding in a corner, watching them through the floor-to-ceiling window, when suddenly my phone buzzed. It was a message in the company group chat. Lena had just posted a photo. A pair of deep wine red high heels. Evan. Something this expensive should be given to Elena, right? You shouldn't be having fun with the wrong person. Elena still young, how could she possibly have the kind of womanly charm you have when wearing it? After Evan spoke, more and more people chimed in, all jeering and making jokes. Then suddenly, she tagged me. Elena. You don't mind, right? I just thought everyone's been stressed with the project lately. So I posted it to lighten the mood. Evan immediately backed her up. It's just a joke. Elena. Don't make a fuss. But I hadn't even said a word yet. A wave of confusion and bitterness washed over me as the two of them suddenly walked past me side by side. Handsome man. Beautiful woman, so perfectly matched. I hastily picked up the menu to cover my face and hide. Like some shameful third party. Lena could warm her hands by slipping them into the back of his neck. But if I ever tried something like that, he'd only scold me for being improper. My fingers turned pale as I gripped my phone and quietly deleted the meticulously crafted perfume formula I'd saved. Compared to her, I was indeed overreaching. The bitter sting at the tip of my nose told me I couldn't keep being so humble. The outcome of compromising was a lifetime of suffering with a child in tow. I needed to wake up. After we parted ways at the CAFF, Evan suddenly went on a business trip with Lena without warning. All he left me was a text message. The day after he landed, he came down with a high fever. It's easy to say you've let go, harder to act on it. After much hesitation, I still decided to go take care of him. A small part of me was still hoping maybe if he saw me at the site, he'd change his mind and let me join the project. The small town they were inspecting was one I had originally chosen. The flowers nurtured there were more fragrant than anywhere else. A child from the village chief's family, who showed me the way, told me. A bunch of rich people came a few days ago. Especially that couple leading them, they were so good looking. And they spent money like water. Couple? That's how they introduced themselves? The child giggled. Yeah. Pretty sister. Are you here looking for them too? My chest ached. I had traveled all alone and hadn't slept for 2 days and 1 night. I never expected Evan to be so blatant when he was out in the open. Did he ever even care that I existed? When I arrived at the village chief's home, the scene before me pierced me to the core. Despite his high fever, Evan was outside in the courtyard, washing Lena's hair as she reclined in a chair. They were laughing together. So blissfully at ease. So harmonious. I had never felt such a bone-deep coldness. My heart was in shambles like tangled yarn clawed by a cat. I couldn't stop crying. Everything else was fake. Only their feelings were real. But what right did they have to treat me like this? What did I do wrong? I suddenly didn't want to face them. I turned and ran. But after only a few steps, the earth shook violently. A once-in-a-century flood broke loose. I didn't have time to get away. Something massive crashed into me and hurled me into a field. I felt like I was being swallowed by a whirlpool, gasping for breath. Luckily, hadn't fulfilled my ascension. A haystack blocked me just in time. I scrambled up, clutching my belly tightly. Then I heard the child shout. Over here. That pretty sister is over here. I stood there, covered in yellow mud. A complete mess. Our eyes met. And I could see the anger flaring in Evan's. Elena. What are you doing here? You're just here to cause trouble. Aren't you? He didn't ask if I was hurt or how I got there on my own. All he did was question and blame me. He was so cold it was like he was a stranger. I choked on my words. Tears stinging my eyes. I wanted to be strong. But I couldn't help the redness creeping into them. I just heard you were set. Stop lying. Evan snapped impatiently. Do you have to be this clingy? I'm working here. Don't you understand? You being this selfish is just a burden, it's exhausting. So this was what my love and devotion meant to him. A burden. Evan. Don't be so harsh to Elena. Lena said sweetly, wrapping her arm around his. Maybe Elena was just worried about us. After all, she's the future matriarch of the company. It's only natural she'd want to check in. The moment she said that, Evan's anger exploded even more. Elena. So you came all this way just to spy on me? What? You don't trust me at all? You want to chain yourself to me so you can finally feel secure? I wrung my hands, trying to explain. And no, I really came because of your health. You're being completely unreasonable. Evan snapped, his face dark. I burst into tears. Why can't you trust me? Why do you believe everything Lena says but never? Because she knows her place better than you. Lena came forward again to play the peacemaker, this time putting her arm around my shoulders. All right, Elena. As supportive women, we should be more understanding. Right? Again, Evan fulfilled my obsession. She painted me as the irrational one. Thinking of everything they'd done, I finally fought back. I am being understanding. Everything I said is true. They hadn't expected me to push Lena away. They both froze in shock. Even a cornered rabbit will bite back. But Lena was cunning. Even then, she still smiled sweetly. Yes, heaven fulfilled my obsession. Yes. Evan, don't take it out on the poor girl. I swallowed my anger and said nothing more. That afternoon, the partner company came to discuss next steps. Because of the disaster, continuing the site assessment was no longer feasible. I sat quietly beside them during the meeting. To my surprise, Julian turned out to be one of the collaborators. When he greeted me warmly, Evan and Lena's expressions changed immediately. But strangely, instead of feeling anxious, I felt a flicker of satisfaction. And when Lena couldn't answer one of Julian's casual questions, I stepped in and answered it clearly. Julian looked at me with admiration and introduced me to the team, dealing a hard blow to Lena's pride. Later, back at the village chief's house, Lena burst into tears. Evan lashed out at me. Elena, I never realized you could be so manipulative. Was this your plan all along, to steal the spotlight and embarrass Lena? All because I answered a formula she couldn't explain. He was ready to crucify me. My face went pale, but I stood firm. I did it to help the company secure the partnership. Do we really have to divide it by who's who? You're ruining their relationship. Evan looked at me suspiciously. Elena, you don't have other motives, do you? What other motives could I possibly have? Julian would never fall for Lena. The moment I saw Julian that day, I knew he still hadn't let me go. Though our marriage was arranged between families, it was Julian who had pleaded for it. As for Lena, to him, she was merely a second-best choice. And what about you? What were you thinking when you and Lena were calling each other husband and wife? My sudden counterattack caught Evan off guard. Lena immediately reacted, looking pitiful and fragile. Elena, you misunderstood. It's all my fault for not explaining things properly. If you want to be angry, hit me. Scold me. Just don't make things hard for Evan. Seeing her so weak and helpless, Evan instantly lost control and yelled at me. You're so despicable. Despicable? And when you washed her hair and helped her put on socks without caring about the boundaries between men and women, didn't you consider that Julian might also call you despicable? You shameless woman. I summoned the courage to fight back, only to receive a slap from Evan, cold and merciless. You hit me? I stared at him in disbelief. Without a word, he wrapped his arm around Lena's waist and walked out, not forgetting to leave a warning. From now on, someone will watch you. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Stay inside and reflect on your behavior. Maybe then you'll learn what shouldn't be said. He left during a crisis, without the slightest concern for my safety. Instead, he moved Lena into the fully equipped room next door, while I was left in a cold room without heating. I cried through the night. And disaster struck suddenly. Floodwaters surged again, pounding on the wooden door. The air outside was filled with shouting and calls for help. Water had already risen to my calves. I could only climb onto a shaky table and wait for rescue. When I caught sight of Evan through the window, I screamed with all my might. Evan! I'm here. He looked at me, his eyes indifferent. And then, willful as I. Without hesitation. He turned toward Lena's room. In that moment, I felt all strength drain from my body. My heart utterly shattered. But for the child's sake, I had to keep calling for help. Even though I knew deep down. In that split second. We were truly over. Evan. I'm pregnant. Don't leave me. I knew he heard me. His steps paused ever so slightly, but then he ran straight into Lena's room. Despair crashed over me. I watched their figures disappear into the courtyard. When I was at the edge of collapse, it was Julian who came back and saved me. Before I passed out, I gripped his collar tightly and whispered, "Save my baby. Don't tell him." When I woke up again, Evan was just walking out of the room next door. "Why did you lie to me about being pregnant?" His brow was furrowed, his tone self-righteous. "After sending Lena away, I came back for you. But why were you in Julian's arms?" "Elena, you're still involved with him? Why can't you behave? Wasn't the last lesson enough? I'm warning you if I ever see it again." "Evan." I interrupted. My tone calm, my eyes completely devoid of love. Evan froze under the unfamiliar gaze. "What?" I didn't even finish. "Don't interrupt me. Let's break up." The words had barely landed before he kicked over the ornament by his feet. "Elena, you're really pushing it. Get out if you want. Don't expect me to come begging." I looked at his scornful face and let out a cold, mocking laugh. "Fine. I'll leave." That very night, I contacted a private hospital and had the child aborted. Then I boarded a flight to France. Apart from Julian, no one knew where I had gone. Meanwhile, Evan, drinking and partying at a private club, remained as arrogant as ever. She dumped me? That little bunny? Where does she think she can go without me in North City? She'll be back crying by tonight. But his arrogance was quickly slapped by reality. "President Evan. The hospital called. Your wife had an abortion." And then disappeared. Julian told me Evan went mad looking for me, even blaming the doctor who performed the procedure. But the world is so vast. Finding someone isn't that easy. He had always been too full of himself. After I left, his emails and messages never stopped. "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant the moment you found out? Elena, you didn't actually abort the child, did you? You must be lying. Elena, I command you to come back immediately. Don't think I'll come crawling to find you. If you don't pick up my calls again. Don't blame me for losing it." But who cared? I had already lost all expectations for him. I wished I had never met him. I disappeared for nearly a year. Over that year, I had completely transformed, radiating confidence and vitality. I may have been born into wealth, but I used to be delicate. Like a fragile porcelain and all. Being with Evan made me even more dependent, like a parasitic vine with no roots or foundation. But after I left, I used my natural talents to build a business. My perfume brand became wildly popular nationwide. Even my presence and aura had changed drastically. The day I returned home, my best friend Yojo invited me to meet. As soon as Evan was mentioned, Yojo was gleeful. He was just being stubborn. "For the first 3 months after you left, everyone could hear he'd sent people out searching for you. Though he eventually stopped looking. He's never been the same, always walking around like someone owes him money. And with Lena? Don't even go there. He got used to having you around. You think he can just move on that easily?" I used to think he and Lena would end up together, especially since Julian had broken off his engagement to her. That left me looking like the heartless one. "So where did you go this past year?" Yo-Yo asked. "Everyone said you aborted the baby. But your belly." I simply smiled and placed a hand over my pregnant stomach. "In France. I married Julian. It was still a marriage of convenience. But I had a decent impression of him. Instead of chasing mutual love, why not choose someone who actually cherished me and enjoy life? More importantly, Julian was a good man. Even if there was no love, we could still part peacefully. On good terms. Not long after. Because my perfume broke 1 billion in sales. I was invited to a TV interview. Evan happened to be attending a banquet with Lena at the time. A moment he heard my familiar voice from the screen. Yes, Evan fulfilled my sigh. I owed a day's success to the full support of President Julian. The wine glass in his hand slipped to the ground, shattering into pieces. Everyone turned as he suddenly bolted out of the room like a man possessed. Outside the TV station, before my driver could even arrive, a familiar Bugatti screeched to a halt in front of me. Elena. The window rolled down. Evan's cold eyes locked onto mine as he growled through clenched teeth. You dare come back? I gave him a dramatic eye roll without hesitation. 1 year had passed, and Evan was still as arrogant as ever. It was infuriating just to look at him. I turned to leave, and he immediately followed behind me. Elena. Where are you going with my child? His child? I paused, suddenly realizing he had misunderstood something. Evan Foselwensai. I said coldly. The child isn't yours. That blow was clearly beyond what Evan could accept. He rushed out of the car in a few strides, grabbed my arm, and stared at me with bloodshot eyes. Not mine? Then whose is it? Elena. How dare you betray me? A wave of irritation surged in me. I was no longer the timid, self-sacrificing Elena of the past who always prioritized others' feelings. I lifted my leg and kicked him in the back of the knee. Do I need to wait for a lucky day to betray you? Think a little too highly of yourself, don't you? You told me to get lost. And now you come looking for me. What do you want? Evan's face turned completely dark. Elena. You've got some nerve. And you don't? I retorted. Follow me again. And don't blame me for calling the police. As soon as I said that, the bodyguards Julian had arranged stepped forward and blocked Evan's path. He cursed under his breath, powerless as he watched me get in the car and leave. That night, Julian brought home an invitation. Whether you go is up to you. With my mother there, you won't suffer any humiliation. It was Evan's mother's birthday banquet. I had to go, though I knew Evan and Lena would certainly show up too. Still, I went. The moment I entered the hall, Evan's mother excitedly waved at me from the sofa. I exchanged a polite nod with Julian's mother. My precious Elena. I heard you came back yesterday. Why haven't you visited me yet? Still mad at that useless son of mine? Once I sat down. Evan's mother held my hand affectionately. But her expression turns the moment Evan showed up with Lena. Evan, why'd you bring that jinx again? Trying to kill me with anger? Everyone knew Evan's mother didn't like Lena. She knew Evan was obsessed with Lena. But Lena kept stringing him along while secretly having feelings for Julian, which she couldn't stand. She had hinted to me more than once to be careful of Lena. But back then, I was too naive to understand the hidden meaning. Mom. How can you say that about Lena? Evan tried to defend her, stepping protectively in front of her. I didn't feel sad anymore. Instead, I happily enjoyed the desserts Julian's mother had prepared especially for me. Heech. If it weren't for her, I'd already have a grandchild by now, Evan's mother said, disdain evident on her face. Lena's face turned crimson. She quickly tried to retaliate. Elena disappeared without a word and came back visibly pregnant. I wonder which lucky man that is. A veiled jab suggesting I'd cheated? That I was promiscuous? Everyone present knew I was once almost Evan's wife and had lost an unborn child. Now I returned pregnant. Of course they were curious. Blessed? Certainly not like Lena, I said with a cold smile, putting down my plate. When I was on the operating table aborting my child, its father was happily enjoying Lena's tender embrace. A wave of scornful stares instantly turned on Lena. She had no prestigious family background, just an average girl. If it hadn't been for Evan's infatuation, she wouldn't even have qualified to enter such occasions. Evan's mother looked deeply ashamed. Poor child. You've suffered. It's my son who lacked judgment and ended up with such a useless woman. She was referring to the project Lena took over from me and lost 5 million on by Midiri. She thought I didn't know she'd stolen material from my database, that's why she dared to accept the project. But she never expected I'd really delete my formula. Without the perfume blend I developed, she was like a fish out of water. Hundreds of proposals were rejected. And she had no choice but to breach the contract. From now on, you're my goddaughter. Don't dislike your godmother. Okay? She removed her bracelet and slid it onto my wrist, ignoring Lena's venomous glare. Considering how much Evan's family owed me, I didn't find it hard to accept. I gave a sweet godmother. And Evan's face darkened even more. He didn't even notice Lena tugging at his sleeve, silently begging for help. In fact, when I looked at the shoulder he and Lena were touching, Evan subtly shifted away, feeling guilty. Are we? Oh, so he does know how to keep boundaries after all. Elena. I went to the back garden for some air when Lena suddenly chased after me, Evan falling right behind. You're already pregnant. So why did you come back? Lena cried, looking like the victim. Do you have to bully me like this? Don't think I don't know you've been with Julian this whole year. How shameless can you be? Stealing someone else's husband? Do you have any idea how long I've been planning our wedding? The only shameless one here is you. Let's not even talk about how Julian never promised her anything. When Julian wasn't around, had she really remained faithful? Wasn't she just trying to eat from every bowl? I adjusted my shawl and sneered. Are you two even married? Am I married? We're all single. Who are you to moralize? You're the one deluding yourself. And now you're here to blame me? Why don't we ask Mrs. Julian whether the Julian family recognizes you as their daughter-in-law? Lena? That was a cruel blow. In our circles, she didn't even deserve to be called Miss Lena. At best, she was just a glorified assistant under Evan. Don't go too far. Elena. Evan warned again, standing behind her. With his support, Lena sobbed even harder. You already abandoned Evan. And now you want to bring some other man's bastard back into his life? At that moment, a warm coat fell over my shoulders. I turned to see Julian, his smile gentle, standing behind me in silent support. This child is not a bastard, Lena, Julian said, his tone still polite. Please watch your mouth. That shut them both up instantly. You too. Evan started, dumbfounded. Julian gently wrapped his arm around my waist. Elena is pregnant. She shouldn't stand for too long. Excuse us. He turned and walked me away. I silently gave him a thumbs up. But Evan wasn't so easily dismissed. After the banquet, while Julian went to see off guests, Evan found me again. Elena, I know you don't love Julian. Is being with him out of spite really worth it? I've thought it through. I won't hold your past against you, even the abortion. As long as you apologize. I raised my hand and cut him off, the impatience in my eyes crystal clear. That was my child. What the hell does it have to do with you? You love Lena, right? Then keep loving her, love her until mountains crumble, seas dry up, and the world ends. Only then can you prove how deep your feelings really are. Otherwise, how can you justify the choice you made back then? President Evan? Unexpectedly, having so seldly and so sure. After I vented like that, Evan actually smirked proudly. I knew it was because of that incident. He looked like he had the upper hand, his anxious expression slowly fading away. Elena. I rescued Lena first because she's afraid of water. And she's the project leader. I had to consider the company. Besides, don't you know how to swim? Is it really worth holding a grudge over something so small for a whole year? Is that a small matter? That flood was reported in the local news as the biggest release in 30 years. And there were casualties. I was the lucky one among the unlucky. But Evan realized my life-threatening danger with such casual words. Evan. Stop painting yourself as the hero. I gave a half smile, openly mocking him. Whether it's selfish desire or noble righteousness, you know best. Don't try to disgust me. I turned to leave, immediately followed by a bodyguard. Behind me, Evan was suppressing his anger but still arrogantly said, Elena, don't say I didn't give you a chance. Ridiculous. Do I still crave the second and loser now? Burning with fury, I went home, where Julian coaxed me for a long time. We're in the same industry. Inevitably, heaven fulfilled my absari. We'll meet again. Don't waste words if you don't like him. Julian's words proved prophetic. Soon enough, we met again at a bidding conference. Lena was still by Evan's side. From afar, I could feel the jealousy flashing in Lena's eyes as she looked at my belly. Sorry. Mrs. Julian. Even though I tried to be cautious, I couldn't avoid her trap. The venue was tiered. I had just sat down in a corner to rest when Lena, 2 steps above me, smashed a cake right onto my chest. My dress was ruined, and my hair spread over my chest was covered in mud. Such behavior was extremely rude at a host's event. And in 5 minutes, I had to go on stage to give a speech for the product bidding. Evan's eyes showed a flicker of pity. And without hesitation he said, "Lena, why are you getting so clumsy?" Apologized to Elena. He actually defended me, something I hadn't expected. Lena was even more shocked. Unable to believe it. "You're blaming me?" Seeing her eyes redden, Evan instinctively replied, "No." Neither noticed I was standing behind them facing Lena. The next second, a crisp slap landed on her face. And before she could react, I splashed red wine onto Evan's face. Business is war. Everyone plays their own game. Using such dirty tricks docent that make it a bit filthy? President Evan. After years of dominating the industry, you can't even face me head on? My words hit hard. Many people's eyes changed when they looked at Evan. He hated being called dirty. He immediately turned his anger toward Lena. Apologized to Elena. Correction, having fulfilled my sorry. To President Helena. I slightly raised my chin. I don't accept any form of apology. This score will be settled slowly. President Evan. Lena. Consider this a warning. Drenched and disheveled, I went on stage, and this actually helped me succeed. I used an extremely elegant perfume to mask the strong scented cake on me. I won the bid. There was one more bid spot left. When Lena went on stage, she embarrassed herself as her dress were open from her chest down to her thigh. She didn't actually expose anything, but she panicked completely. Lacking my composure and calm, Evan's brows furrowed tighter, his eyes flashing with obvious disdain. So this so-called deep love was nothing but a sham. President Evan. No heroics this time? Evan's voice was steady. Did you do it? I raised an eyebrow. Not denying it. Just an appetizer. I'm petty and vindictive. I retaliate over every little thing. Unlike President Evan, who's so upright he'd use any despicable trick. If you really care about Lena, you better keep a close eye on her instead of letting her bite people. You've changed. Evan repeated the words, smiling quietly. Elena. This is the real you. Seeing the affection on his lips, I reined in my smile. Get sick. He didn't love me when I was all sweet and flattering. But now that I was fierce, he liked it. What kind of sickness is that? Even more sick was that a few days later, he actually showed up at my door. Lena just messed up. And you came looking for me, is that because you're afraid I'll send your little lover to jail? I told him I wasn't joking about settling accounts with them in autumn. Having spent time at the Evan family group before, it was easy to find their weak spots. Lena was responsible. So she was the first to be locked up. What shocked me was that on the second day after she went to the detention center, Evan took no action. Just as I wondered if he was going to completely give up on Lena, he came to me today. I'm not here for her. I'm here for you. He struggled to suppress the bitterness inside, his voice hoarse and trembling slightly. I can draw a line with Lena. And I don't care who the father of your child is. Elena, give me one more chance. Evan took out a diamond ring, identical to the designed raft I once saw in his study. We'll get married. Then he pulled out 2 contracts. This is my betrothal gift to you. I glanced at the share transfer agreement and ownership of a company. Is this your sincerity? Less valuable than what he gave Lena. I already sent Lena away. Why would I care about these? I leaned back slightly, snorting carelessly. Evan, heaven tevika. Don't flatter yourself. I tapped the desk, full of confidence. Evan, don't overestimate yourself. The next second, he grabbed my fingers forcefully, giving me no chance to struggle. Do you swear to heaven you no longer love me? I struggled hard but to no avail. So I responded coldly. I don't love you anymore. I, Elena, have long given up on you. In that brief moment, Evan looked like a puppet with broken strings. His face pale, stunned for a long time. Slowly, his gaze dropped to my noticeably rounded belly. He instinctively reached out to touch it, but was sharply avoided by me. Elena. He opened his lips as if to say something, but no words came out. I watched him stand up unsteadily, swaying with confusion and regret, just like the expression I saw on him that day when I overheard the truth outside the office. So karma really does exist. Evan took a few hesitant steps backward. Elena. I really still love you. Whether you believe it or not, I'll wait for you. Please think it over carefully. Okay? I'm begging you. I was stunned. This wasn't the kind of thing Evan would say. Could love really change a person? But was his change coming too late? I no longer had the strength to accept it. After that, he never came looking for me again. I threw myself wholeheartedly into the production of the perfume. Not long after, my company's flagship fragrance topped the charts again and even won an international award. At the celebration banquet, my best friend brought up Evan during our chat. Evan is kind of pitiful. Since you and Julian came back to start Huashiam, he's been so suppressed by you he can't even get up. I heard if this keeps up, his funding chain might collapse. Maybe then he'll have to come crawling to you. Yo-Yo laughed so hard she could barely close her mouth. But I didn't feel much joy inside. He was already on his last legs. Lena didn't understand finance and kept pushing the department to make wrong decisions. Evan's endless indulgence would only lead to disaster. It was just a matter of time. This downfall was entirely their own doing. Not because of any schemes of mine. So there was no reason to gloat. Oh, I want to show you a video. Yo-Yo opened a chat window. It was a video sent by a club manager. As soon as it started, Evan's face appeared. You once said love isn't worth much. But now you've fallen for Elena again? Or is it all for Lena? Evan was silent for a long time. Then spoke with a choked voice, I love Elena. I was too stupid. I shouldn't have treated her like that. She's already got a child. And you still can't let go of her? Evan smashed the glassware violently. How can Lena compare to her? She's Elena. She's the woman I love the most. The video cut off abruptly, obviously recorded by Yo-Yo to cheer me up. Seeing no joy on my face, Yo-Yo continued. I heard that day he drank so much he got a stomach hemorrhage and was hospitaling. My first reaction was, does he really love her that much? Well, it's true that for him to lower his proud head and beg me for reconciliation, that does count as love. But so what? Between us, it was already a relationship beyond repair. On the day our baby turned 1 month old, Evan showed up with his mother. Julian wasn't the jealous type. He immediately cleared the room of others, leaving just us to talk. Evan looked at the cradle bitterly. Do we too really have no chance? I looked at him quietly, feeling like I was in a different world. What do you think? Evan didn't answer. He silently picked up a toy and started soothing the baby. I watched him cautiously. His face was haggard, and his clothes wrinkled. Clearly neglected. He no longer carried the pride and arrogance he once had. Now he looked like an ordinary man. Elena. I'm leading Bi Cheng. I was a little surprised. Can I hold you one more time? Please? Before I could refuse, he stepped closer with an undeniable strength that brought back old memories. My breath caught, and I was about to say no. But he carefully wrapped his arms around my waist. Even his breathing slowed and softened. So nervous. And so cautious. My heart tingled with bitter sweetness as I saw his eyes fill with tears. We stayed silent together. That night, I learned that he had left Bi Cheng. Where he went, no one knew. Elena. I'm sorry. Wish you happiness. When I saw this message, Julian came over and embraced me. He gave in a safety lock. Do you want to accept it? I looked at the gold lock lying quietly in the box. It was the style I had once picked out. If we have a daughter someday, we have to buy her one of these. The memories flooded back, and the feelings were not pleasant. Let's keep it, I said softly. Everything should be left in the past. I have an N. I have Julian. And I have a happy, complete family that's enough to hold on to for a lifetime of memories.